Oh my goodness, I forget I have that command sometimes. Hello, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. I'm genuinely starting to run out of like creative things to title these streams. Fried. Honestly, I've been eating like air fried chicken pretty consistently. It's pretty good. I mean, air fryers are I think underrated in terms of how easy they make things to cook. Because I mean, if you think about it, pretty much anything you can cook in an oven or anything you can deep fry in oil, you can do the same with an air fryer. Except it takes oh, hello, hello. Yeah, except an air fryer takes you like half the time of an oven, and you also don't get it soaked in like oil. But yeah, welcome everyone. It's great to see. Oh goodness, up to 5 people already. All right, we'll wait a minute or two here, and go ahead and get started. Yeah, I can't even. I don't. How long ago did I make this chicken command? Because it just shows up every once in a while to terrorize the chat. Brings you back to competitive programming again. I mean, to be fair, none of this was ever really competitive programming. I think I get a little bit too nervous, I think, for competitive programming, and it also takes a lot more practice than I'm willing to put in. But at this point, I don't have any major interviews lined up or anything. I am currently waiting on a Google team match and then hopefully a Google offer. So once I finish that, I'm pretty much committed to updating like the 3 people that consistently watch me regarding how that goes. So yeah, that's pretty much why. As once I get the Google offer, I'll kind of have to make a decision regarding whether I want to continue streaming. Because I mean, there's not much else left to practice for. Because once I get my results from Google, I'm pretty much choosing from the few offers that I have lined up, and then uh, graduating in a few weeks and starting work. And if I'm being completely honest, doing leak code and binary search doesn't seem like the most appealing thing after a full-time workday of programming. Alright, Toeplitz matrix. Given a two-dimensional matrix of integers, determine whether it's a Toeplitz matrix is one where every diagonal descending value from the left to the right has the same value. Okay, so this one, from my understanding, is going to be a 2D array traversal where we start at the rows. Ooh, this was kind of interesting in the sense that we need to, I think, start top right and then traverse left. So we're going to start on the top right, we're going to check 2 and traverse diagonally, we're going to do 1, check diagonally, 0, check diagonally, and I think once we start top right, do row, traverse left. Once we get to index 0, we can check the so we're going to do columns rather, and then we're going to check the rows as well. This light is very bright. There you go. The rows, and I think that should allow us to do it. Better change the name of the channel. Can I? I think there's like a limit to how many times I can change it. I might though. I mean, to be completely fair, I was kind of not expecting to get either Microsoft, and I wasn't expecting to make it past the final round of Google, so that's kind of a surprise to me. But here we are. Okay, given a string s and an integer, rearrange s into k rows so that s can be read vertically top to. What? Don't change it now; it would crash the stream. I might. Oh man, the change really, really just like really good at this stuff, huh? I'm so confused as to what this is like. Okay, I'll come back to this one. Leftmost deepest node. Given a binary tree root, find the value of the deepest node. If there's more than one, return the leftmost one. I'm kind of curious if it would end up crashing the stream or not. This one shouldn't be too difficult. Reverse graph. Given a directed graph represented as an adjacency list, return its reverse. So if an edge goes from A to B, it goes now from B to A. An adjacency matrix, so this would be a lot easier because you just, if you are at a row and column and you find a 1, you set it to 0, and then you flip the column and row indices, and you just set that to 1, and that would have been so much easier. Okay, let's try this Toeplitz matrix. So what we're going to do is start off on the last item of the row, of the first row, and traverse the columns backwards. Matrix.length minus 1. I is greater than or equal to 0. I minus minus. And what we're going to do is for int j equals... What does j equal? Is j going to equal I? No, j needs to equal 0 because we're starting from the top. Wait, okay, no. So this one, if we're doing columns, needs to be matrix at 0.length. It's going to be greater than or equal to 0 because we want to traverse that way. Then, we're going to start j at 0 for rows. Then j is less than or equal to matrix.length j++. Great. So we're going to check for the current item. Is going to be the first one that we look at. Equals matrix at 0, row 0, column I. There we go. So this is going to be our current element to check against. And then what we're going to do after this is just run a check where we say if I think it's going to be I plus j is less than matrix at 0.length, because we want to traverse it diagonally, but we also want to make sure that we don't go out of bounds. So if that criteria is met and the number that we're looking at, matrix at ji is equal, it's not equal to cur. There we go. We can return false. I guess what we can also do is just split this up into two if statements, where we do something like this. Okay, I think that should close off the brackets correctly. It doesn't, so let's do that. So this turn, and then for this, we can otherwise return false, because we're not false, rather we're gonna break. Because if we've gone past the point of where we can continue checking, there's no point in iterating the loop further. It's just going to cost us more resources. Goodness, I feel like I'm a little bit behind here, huh? And maybe waking up 15 minutes before doing coding streams isn't the greatest on your brain function. Okay, return false. Let's go in here, return true. Because obviously this is not going to work for everything, but it's going to work, I think, for... Still the wrong answer, huh? Okay. So why does that not work? So we're starting I at the end here. We're iterating I backwards. J is equal to row 0, and I think it's gonna be plus J here. Yeah, okay, so that fixed that, but this isn't gonna work for everything. So we need to do now, check remaining calls, or remaining rows rather. So we're gonna do this, make it just matrix.length. Current is gonna be equal to I, row I, at 0, j is going to be equal to matrix at 0.length, so we're just flipping the rows and columns to do the same sort of check. So if, again, I plus j is greater than the total number of rows that we have, we want to check. So I is our rows, j is our column, and we are going to be moving, going to be sticking at the row j. Okay, wait, so this is hurting my brain a little bit trying to figure this one out. Okay, so say we're here, we want the row to, we want to check. Say we're here, row j. No, it's going to be column j, I plus j. Runtime error, that's okay. Matrix at 0.length. Wrong answer, okay. So it compiles. Let's see what our wrong answer here is. My result was true when it should have been false. 4, 5, so we didn't check this one correctly, huh? But why? Why? So it works when you do it for the top one, but it doesn't work when you do it for the bottom one. Okay, I think for this one, I'm going to start counting from 0 purely because it's going to be easier to follow. So I equals 0, I is less than matrix dot length. For the rows that we're looking at, I is going to be incremented instead of being decremented. Okay, so we're going to increment I. The current value we want is always going to be starting at row I, column 0. J is going to be less than or... Why was that a less than or equal to? I think that was what's breaking it. Still no, huh? So we're still not finding that correct one. So if I plus j is less than the total number of columns, so is the total number of rows, there we go. Ooh, I don't even know what that was. Line 16. Okay, yeah, so it's not the quickest solution, but it works. I'm a little bit confused as to... Where did I see a less than or equal to? Okay, you know, this is not fastest, but it works. Yeah. Cool, okay. I think another option that we have is to make this a 1 and save ourselves a bit of calculation. Yeah, there we go. Because we already checked that one, and that vertice in the matrix is the longest one that we ever have, so having already checked it, we know it's safe, so it's redundant to check it again. Alright, let's go ahead and see and take a look at this one. So, given a string s and an integer k, rearrange s into k rows so to keep it read vertically, top down, left to right. B. So, it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. So this one, roll the if into the for condition. Hold on, let's see. Roll the if into the for condition. So, I think we're talking. I'm assuming you're talking about this if block here, right, Max? Because this if block does fall inside of this for condition. Hey, Snailman, welcome. Okay, I'll come back to this one later on, see if I can optimize it, because I am running quite a bit behind. So, the way that I want to do this, because of the way that strings are treated in Java, it's going to be a little bit interesting. I'm going to just avoid using a string builder for now, because I don't want to make an array of string builders and then have to go out of my way to like convert that array of string builders into an array of strings. Yes, that would be faster, but typing-wise, it is in fact not faster. New string. This one should be easy. I don't know why. I'm impressed nobody has gotten this one yet. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Okay, string of size k. Then, for int I equals 0, I is less than s dot length plus plus. We're going to pretty much just say result at I mod by k is equal to, I'm pretty sure I can do this in a plus equal statement, but for now we're going to do it s dot char at I. Initially I thought this was something a lot more difficult, but it's just going to be something like this. Return result. Man, is there something I'm missing with this templates matrix? Because people are getting through it so fast. I don't understand how why does it start with null? Fine. If result at I mod k equals null, then we're just gonna do that. Hold on, let me fix this. Okay, equals just that part. Otherwise, we're going to just set it to this. Pretty much, if it's null, set it to that character. Otherwise, concatenate. Oh my, that was, I think by far the worst way I think I've ever spelled result. I mean, there has to be, I guess, a faster way if it's running this slow with this solution. Yeah, I'm kind of, hey, I finally beat Snailman to something. Okay. Leftmost deepest node. Given a binary tree root, find the value of the deepest node. If there's more than one deepest node, then return the leftmost one. So, this one I think is going to need to be, so I'm going to write out a helper method. What this helper method is going to do is basically have it's going to take in its tree and depth. It's going to check, we're going to traverse right, then I think left, and then center. So it's going to be a sort of reversed post order traversal, where pretty much we want to go as far right as possible, and then afterwards we go left. And if it's, how do we, that's going to be interesting. It's hard to visualize this in my head, so I'm going to just start typing it out, and then we'll go from there. So public int solute, no, the class is called solution. Let's do traverse. We can take in a root and a depth. So we somehow need to, I guess, store like a max depth. For now, I'm gonna do what I did yesterday, where I store a max depth out here. And I'm going to call this one, and I'm gonna call it with a depth of 0. Let's do return traverse root 0. So when we get into this method, right, what exactly are we looking to do? We are looking to go as far right as possible, and from the right node, go left. And then if that left node that we find has a depth higher than the depth that we were already looking at, then, hey, cool Mew, thanks for the follow, man, I appreciate it. Then from that left node, we pretty much check, is it deeper than what we had previously? If it is, we replace it. But if it's also in the same depth, because we've been going from right to left, we know if we find we know that every single sort of max depth node that we find will be further left than the previous ones because we're traversing the trees in a right to left manner. Wouldn't it be simple to return a pair depth value? See, it would be easier, I think, to return a pair. However, returning that in Java would, I think, require me to start passing up arrays every time. I'm not sure if I can sort of return paired values. The best way I could do that would be to utilize the built-in point class that just lets you store like an x and y value for a point to return the two integer values, but that's not going to be a very useful solution in interviews. So I tend to try and avoid it. I remember in my Google first technical, I was like, when I started doing the whole key map thing, I remember asking like, oh, you know, can I use like the point class? They're like, no, please just use like commonly available data structures that are available in every language. So I just kind of got thrown off. So what are we gonna do? We're going to traverse left. Let's do int right equals traverse. First of all, if it's a null node, first root equals null, we're going to return a null. How fast? How long did this take you? Bro, that was 5 minutes. That was 5 minutes. What level? I'm kind of purely out of curiosity. Nice. That's kind of nuts, man. Can int be null? It's not right. Yeah, habit. We're gonna return a 0. So yeah, I think one of the questions I was asked was like, you know, what is, let's say, the difference between because primitive classes can have problems actually the same as the one that we did yesterday. Yeah, it looks like it is very similar, just like a different conditional. So I think it was during, again, one of my Google interviews. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of do it for fun at this point, Pizza City. Yeah, it was, so you can have your, let's say, I'm not sure about other languages, but in Java you can have a primitive type, and then you can have its kind of wrapper class for that same primitive type that pretty much gives you access to some methods and allows you to, for example, utilize that primitive type in a data structure. And I started using them interchangeably, and the interviewer asked me like, hey, you know, so you've done this here, and then you use like the primitive type here, and you've used the wrapper type here. What's the difference between the two of them, you know, and will this work? And I completely blanked like on that. I can't even remember what the result was, but I felt like pretty much, yeah. I could not for the life of me remember. I was asked that too. And I was in my Microsoft final, one of the guys asked me like, you know, it was like a question related to OOP, and he was like, oh, you know, so you know about polymorphism, right? Like, you know, could you explain what polymorphism is to me? And I'm like, goodness, it has been actually 2 years since I've taken the class where we discussed, like, polymorphism as an idea makes sense, but when you're in the middle of an interview asked to describe what polymorphism is, like, I on a whim asked some other uni students, and like I got so many different answers, and I think maybe one of them was right. Like, nobody just off the top of their head, I think, remembers what polymorphism is. But after that, it's kind of ingrained in my head. So, what do we do? We're traversing right. Root.right, and we're going to increase our depth +1. And then after we traverse right, we want to traverse left. And then what we want to do is to say if depth is less than or equal to max depth, we're going to, first of all, save this as, I'm going to return what are we going to return? Return root.val. Otherwise, ooh, but this is where this actually kind of becomes a challenge to figure out for me, because we need to, let's say, how do we then decide which one that we want to return between the two of these? Because we have, I don't know why there's a curly brace here. So, in the case that we, I guess otherwise we just return, well no, because we could be traversing right, and then this value here would be in the right subtree. How do we then determine which value we want to return between right and left? Okay, let's for now try return left. This isn't going to work, but let's try it just to see what happens. So this should compile. It does. Oh my goodness, it does not compile. Okay. Illegal start of expression. Oh right, it helps to like actually call the method. Wrong answer. That is okay. My result was 0. This is interesting. It's one of those things that I think is I can easily do with a global variable, but I think it is more useful to me to try and figure out how to do this without utilizing a global variable, at least for that value. So first of all, let's make it greater than or equal to. Still returns a 0. Okay. So so we go here, this will return a 0 and a 0, so this one will return 0. This one also returns 0. We pass this back up. Wait, no. So this one is 0, 0, 0, 0. This one is going to be, we find this one, it's greater than or equal to max.depth. Let's say, right here, print this out. Max plus root.val. This should allow us to see which ones we're seeing as root values. Oh, wait a minute, okay. Max depth equals depth, first of all. 2, 3, and then 2, and then 4. See, so it is working, right? And I could just like int return val equals 0. And then right here, just kind of say return val like that, and then just up here, just a couple lines to just solve it, but don't really want, I don't want to leave it off this way. That's what I don't want to do. So yeah, this right here should just solve the problem. Really? Okay. Interesting. So why does that happen? Max depth we find is 1. Interesting, okay. Let's print out the depth as well then. say that works for that, but for this one, why does 1 have a depth of 2? Why does 1 have a depth of 2? 1 should always have a depth of 0. Oh, I am dumb, I am dumb. I'm incrementing depth here instead of actually... Yeah, there we go. Terrible solution. It didn't occur to me that that would cause an issue. I can't lie, man. That first one I was like, yeah, no, that's fine. You know, that's okay. Oh goodness. Okay. So yeah, okay, so that fixes that, right? The problem isn't too difficult to solve utilizing a global variable. However, there has to be a way to do it just like this, where we don't need this global variable, and we can just make decisions based on what we see. Okay, how do we do that, though, is the question. Does not compile, that's A-okay. Return value does not exist anymore. Cool. Wrong answer. That's okay by me. So, what if we say, if left does not equal 0, return left. If else if right does not equal 0, we can return right. Else, from this point, we can return 0. My logic here, right, is that if in any case, except when we have a value for def, we want to return 0, that might be enough to, for example, only ever pass up a value once we do find it. Yeah, so we see 3, but we don't update that to 0. I really don't know. I don't know how to tackle this without utilizing a global variable. It's like the decision making... it's like, do we have the information necessary in a... Am I dumb? I think I need to do I need to flip this right here. So, what I need to do is keep these traversals here, right? But then, instead of doing this, oh, wait a minute, hold on. So what I need to do, right, is if the depth is greater than or equal to max depth, and root.right equals null, and root.left equals null, because one thing we know always is that the deepest node will always be a child. If it's not a leaf node, then there's always somewhere deeper to go. Otherwise, we don't return that. We traverse left and right. And I think we should always... but here we kind of come to the same sort of idea where, let's say we traverse left and right. I guess here, let's, for now, crap, I don't know. Let's return left for now. And I want to put the console log back in here to print out println root dot val. I want to see which roots we're targeting with this. 3, then 2, then 4. That's exactly what we need. Now, how do we actually pass this back up? That's the question. This shouldn't be as difficult, I think, as it's... I think what we can just say is... if... wait, hold on. If left does not equal 0... turn... I guess return right, and then turn 0 here. Maybe that'll work. Let's see. Okay. Still no, because it's going to find the 3 and then the 0. Right's going to be equal to 3. And how do you pass this value back up recursively? It all works. It's this little condition here. I mean, there's no point in putting this into an else block because it's just not going to, if this runs, it's just not going to run anyways. I'm open to pretty much any suggestions regarding these things because I do not know how to approach this one. What's the hint? A level order traversal. I think a level order might have been better. Yeah, I mean, a level order makes perfect sense now that I think about it. Because, I mean, you just go down to the bottom level and you traverse your queue. You pretty much fill in your queue backwards from right to left. So it's not that, like, so I guess, okay, so it isn't that I'm just, like, dumb and don't know how to make this decision here based on information, but I just kind of decided to do it the wrong way. Granted, I'm not sure why a level order traversal didn't come to mind. This, I think, yeah, is it? Okay, so if it's doable, right, how do I make a decision of which subtree's value to pass back up without having the depth information of where that value was taken from? Could store coordinates of nodes. Yeah, I think Max was bringing that up earlier. I don't... Okay, so, to make this doable, right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it a dumb way where we're going to... Well, I guess I'll just show you what not to do during interviews. So we're going to do traverse, right? We're going to say point P. Then we're going to return points from here. Return null. Then we're going to return a new point. And in this point, what we're going to store is root.val as the x coordinate, and we're going to store the depth. Then we're going to traverse left and right, and what we're going to say is if the right.x, I think it's getX, I gotta look up how the point class works again. Yeah, see, it's like you just don't have the needed information to do this without, hey, about computer stuff. I mean, yeah, go for it. I'm more on the software side, so I'm not sure how much I can answer regarding hardware, but I will do my best. Alright, get x is, or get y is what I need. If the depth of y is greater than left dot get y, we are going to return right. Otherwise, return left. Can you tell me a bit about grep? The whole command function confuses me. Oh man, Linux and Unix systems is one thing that I'm very much not particularly sufficient in. One thing I'd recommend is, I think if you type in like man, like man for man pages, like man grep into your terminal, it should show you the manual page for grep. Might help a bit. I think so. I mean, the extent of my usage of grep has been like counting the amount of times a word shows up. Return p.getx. And I think this approach is kind of bad. Actually very bad, because A, it uses like, oh my goodness. I think I have to import the point. Java.awt. Can I actually do the import here? Alright. This is all of a sudden very, very much gone downhill, man. If you're... Still doesn't compile. Fine, and I will put that into an int. Runtime error, oh goodness. Okay, return new point 0, 0. I'd call it a filter rather. Yeah, there you go. Problem solved. This is actually awful. Yeah, see, so Max, I think this is sort of what you were talking about regarding that. 52 milliseconds. Hey, thanks, Slayer. I'm having to learn Linux as someone who has only used Windows. It's a bit tough. Oh, I can completely understand that. Hey, Koshin, welcome. Hey, Kumu, welcome as well. Thanks for the follow earlier. Recommend trying the BFS level order traversal. Yeah, I could give that a shot. I want to try this graph reversal one though. So, I think the goal here really is file descriptors are really weird. Yeah, there's a lot on like Linux and Unix-based systems that's very, very different from what you'd find on Windows. Goodness, man, you guys are nuts. Okay, is everyone else still working, or am I just like lagged out? Okay, so we get an adjacency list. Let's turn off the visualizer, I think, for this. So I think we need, once again, a list of lists for this. It's going to be the whole overhead thing where we have to convert it, but all we're doing is iterating through in I think, a nested loop, pretty much through this array, and just, let's say for index 0, we find a 1, we go to 1, and we add a 0. And that's really going to be all that there is to it. So, let's do a list of integer, list of integer. New graph. Goodness, man. Problems like this make me wish I used like a language that didn't have like static size arrays. But I also don't know, I don't have the descriptors, or I don't have the data structure like methods memorized for JS or like Python or anything, so it's just more time than it's worth. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna do for int I equals 0. We're gonna do a nested loop. Graph plus plus. Not graph, I plus plus. There we go. And let's do the same thing for the inner loop. J is less than graph at I because they're different sizes. Graph plus plus. J plus plus. Goodness, okay. So, we're going to say if new graph dot get I, rather get J. So if the place that we want to put it is null, we need to put a new array list in there. Graph dot, oh, I think we might actually just need to fill it in beforehand. That might be the easier way to do it. Let's go ahead and do that. I is less than graph.length. New graph.add, we're going to go ahead and add a new list to it. Okay, that should not crash. And let's, for now, I want to return just the graph down here so we can actually test it. Huh? This right here is extra. Here's a title idea for you. Oh, Thanos, good to see you, man. It's been a while. New graph dot ref. Yeah, I'm open to title ideas if anyone's got anything creative, because I am running low on ideas. Running very, very low on ideas. Unexpected end of file at line 0. Alright, I'm gonna copy that into a sticky note and save it for tomorrow. Okay, I think one of my favorite things I've seen is like people purposefully putting like null characters and people purposefully putting like other random characters into input fields, so whatever poor developers on the other side has to go through and like wonder where their code broke and why they're getting all these weird characters. A new graph dot get j dot add I. And let's go ahead and do system.out.println new graph dot toString. Actually, I think I want to print it out like this real quick. So new graph dot get I. Okay, we're gonna do this. Print the line. That's toString. So this should give us sort of a representation, and then we can see if what we print. I printed 0 and 1. Okay, kind of not what we wanted to do. Okay, where did we go wrong? Still studying for any interviews at this point? Honestly, I don't think I'm studying. My only pending application is for Boeing, but I mean, if with a standing offer from Microsoft and a potential offer from Google, there's no way Boeing can match. So, wait, it's line 11. What did I do? What did I? Okay, hold on. New graph. Yeah, but isn't that what we want to do? Or am I dumb? So, new graph.get, we want to get the row that's you're referencing index. Oh, okay. I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen. Index graph at I, J. Just gonna pretend that didn't happen, and we're going to, yay. Goodness. But yeah, no, I think I checked Boeing. Their base is like 90, which isn't bad at all, but from what I've seen, they don't really have many like bonuses or anything along those lines, so. Alright, now comes the annoying overhead of it. Where we do int result equals new int. We're gonna make it of size graph.length. First of all, size 0. Next, we need to do this like whole conversion thing again, where we do it's graph.length. This is going to need to be new graph dot get get I dot size. 2D lists were something that was very difficult to work with, I think, at the start, but over time you tend to get used to it, and it becomes a very, very handy thing to have. Here we need to declare another array to fill in, equals new int array of size graph dot new graph dot get at I dot length. Cool. So we're going to it's dot size. Why is Q4 medium this time? Makes no sense. Yeah, some of their like difficulty curves are questionable. Temp at I. Oh wow. Okay, time's up. I'm gonna just solve this one. It's just overhang. Doesn't ArrayList have 2 array methods? So it does have a 2 array method. However, that 2 array method returns an array of generic object types. I have never once figured out how to properly convert that generic object type array into like an int array, for example. Because the only thing I think I've been able to do is like convert it to the wrapper class of integer, which this doesn't accept, so I'd still have to do my own sort of overhead to convert that. It's very frustrating, but I guess it is what it is at this point. Java 8 streams, okay, yeah. Dude, streams, they kind of broke me. When I remember learning them like way back 2 years ago. I haven't revisited streams, but I mean, they're very helpful, like especially even like if you just use the map and filter function. Lists.toArray new integer 0. That's what I remember. I'll try. Okay, watch. I'll try that after writing this overhead out, and then if that works, I'm gonna be just mildly upset. Wait, temp at I is equal to new graph dot get I dot get j, and then down here we're going to just set result at I equals temp, and we're going to return result. I think from index to values in the array. First answer seems to agree here. Man, have I been just doing this for no reason and complaining again for no reason? I'll check it out in a second here. So graph.length I++, temp gets the size, line 22, temp at j. There we go. Let's submit that. Cool. That works. Sweet. Let's get rid of that one. We don't need the println. ButterPress Pro is my new sign-on bonus. Feels good, man. Hey, that's sick. I'm kind of waiting for my sign-on bonus to come in. Hopefully to... Yeah, it's been a couple days now, but I mean, it was definitely overdue, I think, for a new haircut. Yeah, I'm waiting for my sign-on bonus to come in to hopefully have enough for like a down payment for either a house or enough to afford an apartment in this area, considering Redmond's a possibility. Redmond, Seattle, Bellevue, all stupid expensive. So I'm hoping Did you get Google? So with Google, I passed the final, um, but I'm still waiting for a team match. So if I don't get if I don't get matched to a team, I don't get an offer. So it's like I'm technically through the hard part, but now it's like out of my hands, and I just have to wait until. They said they'd get me done hopefully by the end of March, which I think is a little bit ridiculous when you think about it because, like, most company deadlines are 2 weeks, and I interviewed with Google a week before Microsoft. Microsoft was able to get back to me and get me an offer in, I kid you not, I did my interview Thursday, portal updated Friday, Monday I got a phone call. So that is less than 2 full business days. Microsoft was able to get me all the way through whatever process they had and get me the offer. Google, I interviewed, okay, I kid you not, I applied to Google. Let me go back and kind of recall here. So I applied to them, I believe, like halfway through September of 2021. That's September, October, November, December, January, February. Yeah, we're currently sitting at about 6 months since my first application. Kind of nuts. I think I got their OA in like late November. So even then, right, that's like November, December, January, February. That's 4 months now. I interviewed with Google the second week of January. Now, if it's second week of January, it has now been a month and I still don't have like any sort of paper offer to make a decision on. Most company deadlines are 2 weeks, maybe 3 if you can get that extended. And the thing is with Google, like I applied LinkedIn in September, signed in February, yeah. The thing with Google, it feels like I would have to pretty much go out on a whim, banking that I get matched to a team. Because any offer I would have had, hey, okay, see, Amazon is not too slow. I know people who've applied and gotten an offer within like a month or two, but see, that seems reasonable. Like between like doing your first OA and getting an offer, if it's like a month, and Pinterest just rejected me outright. But it's like if I have to drop every other offer to even consider a chance with Google, it's just not worth my time. Maybe you can let the recruiter know that you need to make a decision. I did. I was like, hey, I have an offer. This was like, keep in mind, right? I interviewed with Microsoft a week after. I got my offer from Microsoft that like a couple days later, and then what's it called? I followed up with Google. I was like, hey, look, I got this offer from Microsoft. I got 2 weeks. Can I expect to hear back from you? They're like, no, just ask for an extension. It's now been a month. Yeah, this is when the Ruthless Renesh comes into play. The thing is, it's like a scary little situation here. It's like, yeah, first time I got accepted, market is hot. Jeez. Yeah, that's why, like, I'm kind of glad that I was able to kind of start applying now and get a job now, because this is probably the best market for job applications. Like, we got lucky, and the fact that I was able to make it into, like, with, like, a Microsoft offer, and then, if I can land a Google offer as well, we'll go from there, but I don't know if I'd be able to do that when there wasn't as much demand. Because the thing is, right, if you accept one, and then Google, every stock being in the total is good for us, I don't even think I would get an interview from Microsoft. I'm a beginner. Can you share some advice? I'm facing difficulty in solving array questions. Oh, welcome. Yeah, welcome for the... If anyone else also has advice, you can share it as well. So, I didn't even think I would get an interview from Microsoft. I never thought I'd make it anywhere past, like... My goal was to have a 100k TC, including salary, stocks, sign-on, and whatever for the first year. Didn't expect to hit that. Blew straight past it. Didn't graduate my degree in Microsoft. Research prefers the degree. Yeah, my offer is contingent on finishing my degree. Write up good pseudocode, that's great, yeah. Try learning basic language agnostic problems. I think, okay, one thing I will link to as well is, I've linked it before, I don't frequent the server myself, but it's got some great resources as well for you. Yeah, definitely design your algorithm before getting into code. This is a sort of Discord community revolving around LeetCode and solving LeetCode questions. So you can probably get a lot of help there as well. The other thing, honestly, all I can say is to just do practice problems. I don't know so much about LeetCode, you know, I don't frequent the site as much, but with binary search, you can easily go in and let's look up by topic. Where's the topics? Array, and set these to easy. And you can start off with these very, very simple questions. Okay, Wolf of Wall Street is not a very simple question. One thing I'd recommend for you as well is to right away scroll down, and if this is below like 90%, yeah, some of these easies are harder than harder. Yeah, that's why if you see an acceptance rate, 86% is like still decent, but if you see one below like 80%, as a starter, I honestly would not recommend trying it. Some of the ones that I know are sort of great for arrays are I think anything with like a 2D matrix. It's very difficult to give like specific problem examples. I can do solved here, and I just want easies for array topics. So odd number of digits I think is good. Merging two sorted lists is good. Square of a list is also good if you just want practice with array traversal. Rotate list left by k, don't even bother. I think equivalent pairs and maximize social distancing should be pretty great questions. So I'd recommend trying those, and if those end up being too difficult, I think there's great YouTube channels. Toplitz Matrix is a good one. So I just solved that one today. Like, I don't know if my solution's optimal, but I assume it's not. There has to be a better way than doing it this way. But yeah, Amazon Science doesn't care though, I don't think. You can just read papers all day. Read. So, can hash store diagonals. So wait, are you just doing research? Is that what you're doing? Sounds kind of interesting. I've considered research a bit, but more often than not, from my understanding, you touch every matrix element once, I don't think you can do it faster. ML Science, dude, that's sick. Going into university, I was so set on like, I want to do ML, I want to do AI, you know, I want to do all this artificial intelligence stuff. And then I took one 300 level stats class and realized that pretty much all ML is just math. And then I was like, you know what? No, it's not worth it. I took an AI class as well, and I was like, man, maybe this is gonna, you know, like reignite that sort of fire to pursue AI. In fact, the professor was MIA. We didn't get a single lecture. We had to pretty much read the textbook. We had 3 assignments that made up 100% of our grade. Didn't get a single bit of feedback on them. Got flat hundreds pretty much the whole class for everybody, and we all finished with a 4.0. So, a little bit disappointing if I'm being honest. But, it's okay. That's why, you know, I could go into research. Hey, Aman, thanks for following. Software is so much better to make industry impact. When your experiment fails, NML, you pretty much have to start a new one. Publishing is all politics. Man. That sucks that, like, it's not even just the sort of knowledge aspect of it that makes a difference. Like, you could have the great discovery, but I mean, if somebody out there, you know, if it would, like, ruin their business, you know, damage their reputation, might not even make it out. I liked ML so much, pre-deep learning. I did a PhD in computer vision. Dude, that's nuts. Yeah, no, honestly, I was really close to going for a master's, like, doing random ML stuff at Google. Yeah, I was my second year of uni, sophomore year, before I went into the actual major. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna get a master's, I'm gonna take some of these advanced courses, I wanna, you know, maybe just learn more, make more. End of junior year, I was like, nope, not cut out for this. Like, end of my first quarter of senior year, I was like, nope, definitely not doing this. PhDs are built different. I don't understand how, like, I respect that determination. Like, if you have the determination to stick through it, like, that's insane. I could never. Dropped out a PhD program for probability theory. Yeah, it's I can't imagine right now, like, I'm graduating in 3 months, you know, I'm kind of happy, I've got my job lined up, I've got whatever. I can't imagine right now saying, alright, time to do that entire thing, but again. Not sure if it was worth it, to be honest. I've heard a lot of people, what's it called? I'm not built different, can't confirm. Oh man. Yeah, no, I in fact am not built different either. Because, I mean, I've heard a lot of people saying that a PhD in CS most of the time ends up being, like, not worth it, especially if your goal is to make more money. Then it's just not worth it. I think it's good to learn to become systematic about doing experiments. Yeah, because for example, with like pharmaceutical or medical or any other field where like a PhD is really required, it I guess makes more sense in my head to go for PhD, which you can learn a lot of things outside a PhD program if you really want to. I think that's kind of the nice thing about CS, where your resources for learning are not limited to a university or like a PhD program. I'm almost certain that if I wanted to, I could go on like YouTube, Udemy, Brilliant, whatever it was, and learn the same stuff outside of a college setting. However, with things like like med school or what is it like I don't know, like pharmaceuticals, I can't just go on Udemy and learn how to make drugs and not kill people with them. So it's like in that case, I think it makes more sense career-wise to follow it. But in CS, it's like, man, there's so much knowledge out there that you could learn without needing to be part of a PhD program. Found it helped with experimental design, isolating dependent variables, but that's about it. But I didn't know what an embedding was until I entered the industry. I got no clue what that is, but I'm sure it's great. Man, so it seems like the thing that you learned from your PhD program was the scientific method. Yeah, pretty much same thing I learned in third grade. It's like the same thing you learned in third grade, except but a lot more depression. That is one way to put it. That that's a very same thing I learned in third grade, except a lot more depression. And that's kind of wild. Yeah, I guess in that case, I'm kind of glad that I didn't go for. I'm not like I didn't decide to apply to like grad school at all. Plus, I mean, I know like I feel like you if you're working in industry, there's just no point to going like if you're going for research and you're doing experiments and things like that, then obviously there's like a reasoning to go into a grad school program. But if it's just for working, like you can go ahead and get your PhD and like PhD in CS for, to like work, let's say for Microsoft or Google. But those extra 4 years that you're working, that you're not working in the industry, you could have been making, let's say 100,000 a year. That's 400 grand you're down. That like you now need to make up 400 grand worth of pay difference before your PhD starts making you money. Not talking about paying off all the student debt you acquired. Grass is always greener. SDEs think more ML stuff is cool and some research people miss it. Yeah, I feel like as long as you enjoy either one, it's just going to be the better one for you. Because if you don't enjoy building, you're not going to enjoy, if you don't enjoy building, go do research. If you don't enjoy research, go do building. What matters at the end of the day is that you don't hate your job going into work every day. And yeah. Alright. That's probably going to be where I have to end it off today. Thanks everyone for stopping by. And I will see you all. Enjoy alcohol. Well, I guess your pseudo PhD funds your alcohol addiction. Alright. Thank you everyone for stopping by, and I'll see you all tomorrow.